I think I joined mid of January, so month and a half ago, and my results have been pretty good after just around 45 days. Energy levels up a lot. My skin looks a lot better than it was before. I'm digesting food a lot better. My sleep's better. And also at the end of the day, my income is increasing a lot as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely have questions about each of those points. I guess it would be cool just to just understand what the biggest issues were when we first started chatting, when you first messaged me. Like what was the most important things for you at the time? What was kind of bugging you?
Yeah, so I would have to say it's probably like the digestion and the skin, but I was having like and like any entrepreneur, I didn't have like the time to like research and do all the stuff needed to do to like find the right foods, where to source it from, and what quantities. So I would try a bunch of stuff, but like it's just throwing stuff at the wall and nothing stuck. So I would never have like the specific plan to my situation with confidence. And I think with anything like in health or whether it be fitness, it's insanely different if you have a plan that you have confidence in that's specific to your situation. That if you know, like you know, it's a proven process, people have gone through it. All you have to do is just put in the work, and on top of it, it's the accountability as well. It's it made it 10 times easier to just get the result 10 times faster.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you have a pragmatic mindset, so you understand that your time is valuable and someone can show you what to do, so you don't have to go through all the years of mistakes yourself. Then it makes perfect sense, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
And so what specifically with your let's take the skin. That was one of the big things, obviously. What
Mhm.
specifically were you having before then? Was that something that you were having all your life, or it started like maybe when you went through like the puberty phase, or
Yeah, so I had pretty bad acne, and I was put on prescribed a couple years ago Accutane, like this pill that I would take almost every day. And what it would do, it would dry up your skin a lot. And it's obviously a pill, so it wasn't that good, but like it would dry up your skin a lot. I had to put a ton of moisturizer on. And now my skin is clearing up, but it's not drying up, it's doing the opposite. It's actually getting more moisturized,
Mhm.
younger, and a lot softer as well.
Nice. No, and that's only in a few weeks, right? So that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
And what was it that you said about your parents they were noticing also?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh wow, like you're like you didn't if you had this like a couple years ago, like we would think like you're 12 years old or something. You look a lot younger than you are."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So people, not just yourself, can see a difference, but you're saying other people are noticing. That's super
Yeah.
nice, man. You know, I can imagine it's kind of quite a relief. So that's super epic. And what's like on the energy side, kind of one of the things that you were saying was also about the kind of more on the focus side of things and just being more energized, I guess. That was one of the things that you also wanted when we were speaking at the start. So yeah, how would you describe that as changing? Like, let's say, how would you feel before, and then how would you describe it, how you feel now, let's say day to day?
Yeah. So I was a lot more like up and down when it came to like my energy levels, and it wasn't too structured because again I didn't know like exactly what I need to do, the best steps to take. But it was a lot of up and down. Like in the mornings I'd be pretty good. Like sometimes I would even need to have caffeine, like even at my age, to
Mhm.
get through the day. But like afternoon times I would definitely slow down. I wouldn't be able to get like as much done. And the difference is now, like, sounds weird, but I'm going like with nature instead of like against nature.
Mhm.
So it's a lot more like effortless in the way my energy is probably the best way I can explain it. And it's just steady, right? It's just like, all right, maybe there's a drop off in the evening, but maybe that's my body just telling me I need to go to bed, or
Mhm.
just an example like that. So it's a lot less up and down. I feel more grounded and so much more steady, and I can stay locked in pretty much all day.
Yeah, that's the stability thing. I think that's because you started to reduce carbohydrate intake also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's partly from the carbohydrate intake, but overall just being much more steady. You saying you're also you've reduced or you've completely quit the coffee or the caffeine?
Yeah, very, very minimal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. And you felt like you could do that cold turkey or well, not cold turkey, obviously, because you're saying it's minimal, but Did you feel like did you feel that different as you started to reduce the caffeine? Was it that in the beginning and maybe it's like evened out, or was it okay from the beginning of reducing it?
When you say cold turkey, like, how do you mean?
No, no, like because sometimes when people because you didn't do cold turkey, right? You're saying you still have a little bit of caffeine here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because sometimes when people reduce caffeine, they like overnight, let's say, they will start to have some symptoms of like they feel the withdrawals, because it's
Yeah,
essentially
yeah, yeah,
like,
okay.
is that something that you were noticing or not so much?
Not so much because I wasn't. It wasn't even like a lot of caffeine too, and it
Okay.
it honestly wasn't even every day that I would
Yeah.
have the caffeine.
Yeah.
But there would just be some days where like, for example, like Monday, Tuesday would be really good. Wednesday, I'd be like, oh, I'm really tired, so I need like a ton of caffeine.
Mhm.
Um, but like now, I don't have those days of like good, and then like really, really tired. It's just balanced throughout the week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that stability is really nice. And I guess not necessarily something that you would notice until you have it, right? So maybe you didn't necessarily know that you were unstable prior to having the stability, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because I've never like experienced it before. So
Yeah.
like it wasn't in my consciousness and I had no idea that like it was in the realm of possibility. And I was like, oh, this is probably normal having like wanting to take a nap in the afternoon. That's normal. But
Mhm.
like maybe it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, 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 100%. I think that's what I told you when we first spoke. I said, this is going to give you a lot of options, basically, open a lot of doors, and you can
Yeah.
then experience it and you'll be able to choose what you want to do from there. But once you have that experience, then you know concretely with real experience what it's going to feel like to feel this way and with doing the things that we recommend. So that's really cool that you had that. Nice, man.
Yeah, man.
And you mentioned in the beginning one of the things that you were maybe because it's not summer yet, but one of the things that you were saying was that you wanted to be a bit more adaptive to the sun. Is that something that you've been able to test, or is it too early? Let's say it's not sunny enough yet.
I was able to test it a little bit. I was in Florida for maybe a couple days.
Okay.
Um, and I was very less on the sunscreen. So
Okay.
I was able to test. I wasn't too adapted to the sun, so
Sure,
I did
sure.
get burned a little bit. But I wouldn't say completely. I've been able to test that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Let's give it a bit more time before we
Yeah,
can draw any conclusions.
yeah.
Nice, nice. And then you mentioned also digestion there. So what was it that you were experiencing before that was let's say you were conscious of and it was a bit concerning?
Um, it was almost hard to explain the way I explained it to you the first time, but it was like I would digest the food, but I'd almost like I'd feel weird in my stomach, and then maybe a couple hours later, I would like feel bloated from it.
Mhm.
Um, and again, the bloated like the energy would just go up and down with the bloatedness.
Mhm.
Um, and I could definitely test too, like even when I was on vacation and I like wasn't on the diet completely,
Mhm.
I could definitely tell a difference between like, all right, I'm on the diet and I'm off the diet. Like there's
Yeah.
there's a big difference with that.
Yeah, you feel, how would you say how you feel when you start eating, let's say, more conventional foods or something?
I was having to take naps. I was a lot more tired for
Right,
sure.
right, right. Yeah, it's good. You kind of become more aware of how your body feels as a machine of like how it functions and what it needs to function well and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's very cool that feeling that you get when you're kind of more in tune with your body essentially there.
Yeah,
For sure. It's kind of a way of you knowing for yourself what you're doing is good or not, essentially, because you start to be able to understand when something is good and when something isn't. You start to develop your instincts again that you probably had when you were younger, you kind of lost along the way. So that's really
right.
cool. You're seeing that already. So that's epic. And you're saying that, I mean, you said that your income increased 50% or something. Is that right? Or
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
epic, man. You gotta explain me that a bit. Like, I don't know if you want to share numbers completely at your discretion, of course, but yeah,
yeah,
what happened there exactly? That's pretty epic.
yeah. It did increase. It was up to 50%, and like I said, that was around 45 days ago.
Yeah,
Um, but kind of like what I was saying earlier, it's like I'm able to stay locked in like all day. I don't have to like take these breaks. So it was almost like I was always just being 10 times more efficient. And even my friends were like, dude, like what are you doing? Like how are you doing so like m more much work? And I'm like, I'm just following this diet. Like, oh, what's the diet?
yeah,
So yeah, but
yeah.
honestly, I think it was maybe more than anything like going back to it, like since I had the plan, like I didn't have to think twice about it.
Mhm.
So I almost like before I was having so much of like my brain taken up by like, oh, what do I do? How do I do it? What's that gonna look like? But as
Mhm.
soon as you have a plan that you can follow that's custom to your situation, that
Mhm.
all you know is as long as you execute, you're gonna get XYZ result.
Mhm.
It took all that like energy that I was using in my head
Mhm.
and almost like I could just put more into work than I had before, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, exporting the thinking, essentially outsourcing the thinking, and that frees up your own headspace. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't have to take up like brain. I don't like anymore. I just know exactly what to do. And I don't have to take up like brain space of like, where am I going to get my food? Is it going to be good? Like, do I even know like what quantities to get it in? That kind of stuff.
Also, just is this going to work? Basically, do I have
Yeah.
confidence that this is in over the next 3 months? Is this going to actually make a difference to the things that I want to improve, skin, digestion, whatever it might be, right? So you kind of remove some worry and uncertainty there, which also is very liberating mentally. It allows you to feel better in the moment, essentially, and do what you need to do.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to have that like having confidence in the plan for sure. Because I'm sure a lot of people like have diets. They see things on the internet like, oh, like let me just try this. But like there's not like as concrete of evidence as maybe something like this to
Mhm.
have like the confidence to follow the plan to get like XYZ result that they're looking to get. So
Mhm.
it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool, man. Yeah, I'd say, yeah. I mean, I know you're a young guy, definitely younger than the average person in the program. So it's really good that you have this mindset. I'd say it's good for you. Definitely, you're doing something very right there. Maybe your parents are good parents. What what you mentioned in the beginning, accountability and how that was useful, right? Because I know we you obviously have the onboarding call with John where he explains the program in depth. And then I know we chatted and I told you these are the things that we need to do. And yeah, we'll chat again in a few weeks and see how that's going. So how has that also been useful? Because it's something that you mentioned yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say having that accountability, it really gets to a point where it's like like when you pay to have like a result, you're gonna put in the work, and the accountability on top of that keeps it like it's like you can think of you're paying as putting like the lid on the jar, and the accountability is like just twisting it to tighten it. So like you're getting the result with the accountability. It's really really good because you can like asking questions of like, oh, I feel this way. Is this normal to feel? Yeah, don't worry about it. That's totally normal to feel. Or like, oh, like I feel really good about this. How like what are your thoughts on that? Um, it's an incredible feeling to just be like have those sort of people like touch base with you weekly, daily. Like, oh, how are you feeling? What's going on? Oh, I feel this way. Oh, like maybe you should do this. Like, just the ongoing support, again, makes a world of a difference.
Yeah, I'm really glad, man. I'm really glad that you had the leap of faith to trust us, and it sounds like it's worked really well. So it's
Yeah, dude,
really
I think you should charge more. Like,
all right, all right. Well, I'll keep that in mind. That's nice. That's really nice. I'm really really pleased. Honestly, it's really nice to see that you like this, and I mean, you would. I'm assuming. Obviously, you can tell me otherwise, but it's something that you would see yourself, integrating the what we've recommended, the recipes and things like that for the foreseeable future, right?
oh yeah, for sure. And like, I don't know if like you remember, but on like Instagram, like we were chatting like it was like ever since last year, and I knew like as soon as I saw like your content of like oh like because I was looking a lot around at the time, and I didn't really know like what was true, what to follow, XYZ. But there like after I watched a couple podcasts, like there's definitely the social proof there.
Mhm.
So I knew like I didn't have the money at the time, but I was like I know I'm gonna get this because I know it's gonna get me the result I want.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, for sure.
Awesome, man. Epic. And I guess just a couple more questions. I guess because you were a bit primed, you kind of listened to the podcast, you knew that what the things that I recommend aren't necessarily if you go to your GP or your general practitioner doctor, there's not necessarily things that are going to be aligned with that. So how has that been for you in terms of like it's quite a paradigm shift to conventional advice? Because I guess you were all in on board with that quite quickly. But how would you?
Mhm.
Was that something that was interesting for you to adjust to, or you were kind of ready for that, or how would you describe that?
I was kind of ready for it. I mean, it's a lot to like wrap your brain around of like all of the beliefs that you have
Yeah.
that have been given to you, and it's like, okay, maybe like I'd have to understand like why this is happening.
Uh,
And I really like too in the program how like you explain like the why behind what like the mechanism as to like why we're doing
yeah.
XYZ action. So like you understand the why, so like you just have more belief in actually doing the action itself.
Mhm.
Um, so again, like the philosophy of going into it, I was like, okay, well, like why do I eat that food, or why do I do this, or why do I do that? And he's like, oh, this is why, or because XYZ study. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. Let's do it.
Yeah. Nice. That helps, I guess, to bridge from one belief to the other, essentially, when you
Yeah.
have they explain to you well. So yeah, absolutely. Makes sense, man. Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, no, this was quite we were quite rapid conversation, but I guess we went through the questions quickly. To be honest, it's yeah, it's just really good to see that you're a young guy and you've gotten such benefits quickly, and you've just enjoyed the process, and obviously very easy to work with you, someone that's self-motivated and was up for it, basically wanted to do this. So yeah, that's really cool.
Any entrepreneur, or if you're in sales, if you're in like a performance type, even if you're in sports, because I sometimes do sports as well, but yeah, any I would say any performance, like if you need to be performing at like peak state each and every single day, to like improve every single day, like your body like needs to be optimized if you want to ascend to the next level. And this is just ascending your body in every single capacity.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I guess those would be the main questions. So yeah, just thank you, and I'm glad that it's working, and obviously we'll continue to see how things improve over time. And yeah, I want to definitely see that your sun tolerance is better when it gets to the summertime. I know for sure it will be, but I guess to what extent will be cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And just something to add on to that too, like even like since I'm so young and since I decided to go through this now, like I have this knowledge like for the rest of my life that I can use and even teach other people with it. So it's like not only are you helping yourself, you're helping your future self, and you can help out other people too with it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. By improving yourself, naturally, you will help the people around you that are curious and want to learn. So we're only like a month and a half, 2 months in. So yeah, I mean, you should see over time your skin's going to continue to improve. You just find it, you feel more confident. You have more understanding of what your body needs at different times, especially when you start to try other things. Like if you start trying the oysters, sometimes you're going to see, oh wow, I want some oysters. I want some of that mineral, that strong mineral taste. So you're going to start to
Mhm.
see things like that will happen over time, and you just get more stable. So yeah,
Cool.
awesome, man. Talk to you very soon, my friend. Take care,
All
man.
right.